I am back in Sacramento. It is so great to be back here in NorCal, and we got Sean Salisbury. He's going to be coming on in a moment, and then Ryan in Sacktown, and we are going to be talking NBA playoffs, the Kings, the Warriors. How fun is this week going to be? But when we come back in just a moment, Sean Salisbury. And it is a Monday, which means we talk with Sean Salisbury. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be with you.
It's always good to be with you. Sean, I want to start with the Dallas Mavericks. I've been covering the NBA for a long time, 32 years as an announcer. That's one of the worst ththings that I've ever seen a team do. That's an embarrassment. You have a chance to get into the playoffs with 2 games left, and you shut it down and you wave the white flag. And the NBA said they're having an investigation. Where's the investigation? What do you have to investigate? Everybody knows what they did. Why do you need an investigation? I just thought that was a horrible move by the Mavs. I wanted to get your take on this.
I couldn't agree more. It's weak. It's not in the spirit of competition, correct? And this is the same team that that was in the Western Conference Finals last year.
That's right.
They went out and, with the Luka and adding Kyrie Irving to the mix, this whole thing, I think it sends the wrong message at that point in time when you are on the brink, Grant. I don't like it. I think it's weak.
Terrible.
And I'm actually shocked that they did it, to be honest with you. I am.
The game before, they had played Sacramento, and after the shoot-around of that game, Luka Doncic came out, and they asked him if they were going to shut it down. He goes, hey, as long as we have something to play for, we're not shutting it down, and I'm playing.
Right.
All right. 48 hours later, they shut it down. Now, they started Luka, and they only played him for a couple of minutes. They didn't play anybody else. Here's the interesting aspect of this, Sean. If the Mavericks in the lottery end up with a top 10 pick, they keep it. If not, it goes to the Knicks. You know what the NBA should do? They should put the Mavericks at the back of the lottery before it even starts. You get the 14th pick. That pick goes to the Knicks. Oh, and by the way, we're going to fine you the maximum amount. This is bullshit, Sean. This cannot happen.
Well, Grant, aren't we trying to prevent? Isn't Adam Silver trying? I know it happens. I know people that aren't, if you're the Rockets trying to get in position where you got 14% chance to, as the worst
14%.
team, at least 14% to, go out and get Victor, right? I mean, that's the talk,
that's what it's about.
Right, there's no doubt. But my thing is, you're still trying for teams that have a chance. You're trying to prevent this and have competition. That's why they're going to have an in-season tournament. That's why they allow all these things that they're trying to prevent from you just throwing up and saying, because fans want to go to games that matter and see competition. Those teams that are out of it, they still want to go see their stars play, even if their team's out of it. I think it's weak in Bush League because the only way that athletes, and it's not, athletes and or organizations suffer is when you dock them assets or you dock them money big time.
Yep.
And so if you want a message to be sent to the rest of the NBA, you cannot let this just go by the wayside. You cannot.
Absolutely. All right, I want to talk about Stephen Silas in Houston. 3 years ago when he took the job, he was sabotaged by James Harden and his immature, unprofessional act, showing up late. I'm not going to be there. Then he had to go through COVID protocol. Then he wasn't going to play. Then he was going to play. That was welcome to your head coaching job, Coach Silas. Okay, so that was an impossible situation. Here's the bottom line. I don't think if you had Red Auerbach reincarnated and put him on the sideline, the Rockets are still not going to win. I understand. I get it. But I think that's a raw deal for Silas. What do you think?
It is, Grant, and we talked about it a lot this morning and have been, as the signs have all pointed to, Rafael Stone, the front GM, and Tillman Fertitta more than likely moving on from this. Listen, timing's everything in life, and he came at the worst time for them. Yep. You got a superstar in Harden who's been toying with everybody, and when he's the number one guy, he's not winning a championship. We've seen that no matter how good he is offensively. There's always something going on. And then the COVID and a shortened season and all these picks that are young guys that listen, think about the NCAA tournament. There was probably more older star veterans on the Miami Hurricanes and UConn than there are on you're talking about Jabari
Great
Smith,
point.
Jalen Green, that are still teenagers.
Great
So
point.
this is a Kevin Porter Jr. is what, 22 years old or something, Grant? So they are loaded with young players. And you know what happens with young? Get you 40 points one night and forget how to play defense and be a professional. They just it's tough. And Popovich, well, look what Pop 5 years or so. He's been what, one playoff time in 5 years since Duncan and the group left. Guess what? It's tough to win when you don't have great players. And when you got young guys, Popovich ain't fixing this. Phil Jackson in his prime wasn't. They've got to have some veterans and young. Now, if you get Victor and you get a couple more, you don't want to keep picking in the first 3 picks. I can tell you that. But they're making headway. And Stephen Silas, the timing's weak. But, Grant, you know this about this league. 2 things they want to see early. Well, one thing they want to see early is progress, control of the team. Are they making progress? Defensively, they were horrendous, Grant. And you know this, it's not talent, it's commitment on the defensive end. Anybody can play defense. If you can dribble a basketball and put it on the deck and go by somebody, you can go without a basketball and move your feet. It's commitment and want to, but they weren't committed to it. Now, if that's not buying into Steven Silas, John Lucas is there, and John's a disciplinarian. I love Coach Silas. Comes from great basketball DNA. Yep. And he was a hell of an assistant for a long time. And you're exactly right. They're not winning. They want progress. By year 3, Grant, you know what they want. They want progress, and they want W's in the progress, not just wins and losses. But it wouldn't matter. So for the last 40 games, I think we've all had an idea that they're going to move on. And that coach, whoever it is, whether it's Nurse, whether it's somebody else, they're going to find out. If you don't get the guy or 2 you want, it's going to still be difficult to win in a brutal Western Conference.
All right, let's talk about this brutal Western
Conference. Brutally good, Grant, not a brutal bad. Brutally talented Western Conference.
I understand exactly what you mean.
Yep.
Let's talk about this conference right now as the playoffs begin. I like Phoenix coming out of the West. I think the table's set perfectly. I don't know what happened to Denver at the end of the season, but they're not the same team. No Steven Adams coming back from Memphis. I don't think they can go the distance in the West. I'm keeping an eye on the Warriors. If Andrew Wiggins can help them, that's a team that won the championship last year. Last time I checked, they still have Steph Curry. But I don't know if Chris Paul, I mean, he's running out of time. This is it for him. This is the Phoenix Suns, to me, their last gasp to get an NBA championship.
Yeah, I always am confused by the Denver Nuggets sometimes at this time of year, Grant. Aren't you? I look at them, I think this team, and then all of a sudden, it's like, man, what a regular season team. Is like, late, what's going on here? And it bothers them. And you're right about Memphis. You lose Adams, you lose physicality, which you have to have in the postseason. You got to bank. If you're counting out Golden State, you're wrong. They've got guys that first of all, they know how to win.
That's right.
They know how to win, and they know how to win and maximize their efficiency. We know that. So dangerous team. And then I'm with you. To me, it's all about is KD ready to go and do this thing and do it without being rabbit-eared, but say, I'm going to go do this thing. I still got something to prove, even though maybe he doesn't think he does. And I don't know if you're with me on that, but they're stockpiled if they grab it and stay healthy and stay hungry and got something to prove. Because if you ain't got something to prove and you're Chris Paul, as good a Hall of Fame career as he's had, can you imagine that's Barkley walking away? That's Malone. That's Stockton at some point in time. That's Danny Marino. That's who we're talking about in that class. Been close, but in the NBA, we don't give trophies away for the guy being close when it comes to all-time accolades. I'm with you. I had the Phoenix Suns for a while, and they've been close 2 years in a row. They had their struggles, so they hit a little bit of rock bottom this year with the up and down. I think they can, as long as they stay out of foul trouble and they're healthy in the postseason. And Chris Paul thinks, well, maybe he needs to put a mandate on guys. I'm playing 2 more years. Let's go get our thing. So I think the Suns, I'm with you. I got them coming out of the West, and I think the East is going to be a fist fight as well.
Sean, the NFL is a different animal because you can't coast in the regular season. It doesn't work like that. You can't. It's a different dynamic. But you've been around a lot of athletes. You've been around the block a couple of times. I want to get back to the Warriors. They had a very disjointed season. All right, their road record was horrible. They had guys in and out of the lineup. They had the Andrew Wiggins situation, but this is a team, as you said, they know how to win. They just won the championship last year. Would you be not shocked? Would you be surprised if the Warriors are playing in the NBA Finals again this year? Because I wouldn't be surprised at all. I see the talent. They have Steph Curry. As you said, they know how to win. But what about turning it on and off, Sean? Can they just snap their fingers and be the Warriors again?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they can snap their fingers, but they're as close as we have in the West, in my opinion, that can turn it on and off like a light switch or a faucet. Why? Because They can score with their beyond in bunches. They got some nasty in them, and you're so right about Wiggins. Look how his contribution last year, right? And Grant, look how far you can fall quickly. Talk to the Dallas Mavericks from last year, this year. The one thing the Suns have done is, even though with the last 2 years of being so close, the last couple, I think it was Dallas that took them out last year, and obviously Milwaukee after a 2-0 lead by the Suns 2 years ago in the finals until Giannis took over. Well, here's now that they've also this year, meaning Golden State, seen rock bottom. When I say rock bottom, they've been through all we question them. Oh, you may not even make the playoffs, all those things. And here they are again. So I think they can turn it on and off. I wouldn't want that light switch to go all the way off, because when you get to the NBA Finals, there's a dude in Boston that's pretty good in a couple of them. The dude in Milwaukee ain't half bad, right? So there's some teams. But, yeah, I think they can. Now, you're not just going to turn it off and roll your jock and a ball out there when you're playing the Suns if you got to face them, or even Nikola Jokic in that group. But I do like them because I like teams that know how to win, that don't get flustered. My thing for them, Grant, is can they turn that light switch on and off on the road? On the road, because they're going to have to go on the road, and it is going to be difficult to do. But I trust that team because I trust their stars.
I do too.
And they can win.
All right, we're going to talk more about that with Ryan coming up in a couple of moments. Odell Beckham, I got to tell you, man, he got a contract that I didn't think he was going to get with the guaranteed money. I was really surprised to see that with Baltimore.
Still intrigued with speed and talent, Grant.
Yeah.
And you think about it, where he's gone for the most part, like when he went to the Rams for the brief time, I mean, they got better, and unfortunately getting hurt. So I think what they've seen, they know the guy's skilled, probably in him too. There's a wild, he's got something to prove. Now, I don't know what the effect's going to be on Lamar. I don't think one player, all of a sudden, Lamar's got to worry about his contract and all the things going. To me, if it gets down to it, and if you're Beckham, you're going to try to talk Lamar into coming back. But in truth, if I know Odell, he's going to say, you got to do what's best for you first, my man. And then if you're going to come back, let's go do this thing, because nobody's going to get in the way of getting your bag, right? And what Lamar is deserves. So I think it's a good get, because they need a home run hitter there. They do.
But is he still a home run hitter, Sean? We don't know that.
Well, they're paying him like he is.
I know.
They're paying him. We're going to find out, Grant, and we're going to find out just how healthy and can he play 17. Because Odell for 9 isn't going to be good enough in the AFC for Baltimore with all those great quarterbacks in the AFC. No. But it is an upgrade, Grant. You and I both know that it's an upgrade, and hunger and something to prove we talked about it in basketball. It can be a really big thing and a really good thing if it's used properly. And I'm actually anxious to see how Beckham brings it this not only this offseason, but when we kick it back off in the fall.
Sean, we're coming up on the NFL draft. Do you think that we'll have a conclusion to the Aaron Rodgers situation by draft day?
Yes, I do. Now, I it's kind of funny how I heard the whispers of, are the 49ers going to jump into this? They'd be wise to, if you ask me, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, I think that, Grant, I don't think you want to go into this if you're Green Bay or if you're a team that's on the cusp, or the New York Jets, saying, we're kind of out there, because what happens if somebody makes you an offer on draft day for another? Who knows? Moving. There's other teams going to jump into the fray with these draft picks. Tennessee's not sure they got their guy. Grant, there's some sneaky ones. I'm not even talking about for Rodgers. I'm just talking about on draft day trying to move around. So you got a Hall of Famer sitting there in Green Bay. The compensation to give up, I know you're going to hold the Packers are going to hold the Jets hostage, but at some point in time, you're going to have to clear the slate. So, yes, I do believe it'll get done beforehand, because I think Jordan Love wants to come out of this, and I think the Packers do know he's the guy, and he is. And it also, either side, I'm not sure how they're going to draft. Will it diminish trade value if one takes a quarterback? And if you're the Packers, you don't want to be left with it in your hand saying, hell, nobody's going to – who's trading for him now if it's not the Jets? So I think it's going to get done, and the Jets will be better for it. And I quite frankly think the Packers are going to be better for it now as well at this stage.
Sean, this past weekend at the Masters, to me, showed one thing, and it's a shame. And I don't really care what side of the fence people are on as it relates to the LIV Golf Tour. Okay, I'm just talking about from an entertainment perspective. The PGA Tour, without the Brooks Koepkas and the Dustin Johnsons, and even Phil played really well, but we can go on and on. It's just not the same. It's just not. And the Masters proved that, okay? And it's a shame that this has happened to the game of golf that I think a lot of us love watching.
Well, when you got Cam Smith, Brooks Koepka, even the Patrick Reeds of the world, who's, whether you like him, he's a good player. Dustin Johnson. We're talking, that's exactly, we're talking a bunch of majors. You just are. So
Yeah.
fortunately, the big majors get the best of the best, so we get to see the competition. But we should be seeing this competition weekly at some point in time. Listen, Liv has made an impact because the PGA Tour wouldn't even be talking about him if they hadn't made an impact. That'd be like saying, give me 4 of the best quarterbacks on the planet and get them out of the league and say you can't play anymore, as if in the AFC, and say, well, the AFC is just as good. Yes, PGA Tour is not going anywhere, but you saw Koepka go off, and it felt like Faldo and Greg Norman-esque in the 96, I think, Masters it was, maybe 97. But we're one guy and we know how good Koepka is under pressure, and good for John Rahm. What a steady go in the amateur. I mean, it was a blast. We need to see this more. Something's going to give. This cannot continue like this, and you could feel the uptight. And you saw Phil. He loved that. It was like a middle finger.
Did CBS stay away from Phil Mickelson or what? Holy shit.
Oh, my goodness. They couldn't help but start to talk about him because of the way he was playing. 31, on the back nine. And he's right. You know what he looked like? 30-year-old Phil Mickelson rolling in putts, giving the thumbs up. And he looked
no interview too. After the round.
Right. Didn't interview him. Didn't he look trim too, Grant? He looked like he lost about 30 pounds. And he was like, let me make this on 18 just to get to 8 under and give you guys a big middle finger and fit his third. So you guys have to talk about me. Whether you like it or not, I kind of like that drama. But with the gambling and what's gone on and with the Live Tour, that they were doing everything they can to make Phil persona non grata. He said, you can't stay away from me because I'm going to make these putts and I'm going to keep knocking the ball close, which was kind of a fun watch.
All right, I'm going to throw you a curveball here. If you don't even want to get into this, let me know. But I'm going here because you're in the state of Texas, and Greg Popovich going out on a tirade again about gun control. And I got to tell you, I had a chance to spend a week with Pop in Serbia in 2007. He's a fascinating man, fascinating.
Brilliant.
Being around him
very
every
smart
day.
Guy. Yep.
Oh, unbelievable. But I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know what, Pop? Why don't you stop coaching and run for politics and run for office? Okay, if you really want to make a difference, do something instead of ranting. I'm really getting tired of these rants. And I'm just wondering, has there been any discussion at all on your radio show? I know you're in Houston and not San Antonio, but you're right down the road from San Antonio. Do you get any conversation on that at all?
Talked about it this morning. I brought it up, Grant. I'm glad you brought it up. I do. And listen, all the respect in the world for Pop. But like we said earlier, listen, Pop's just become a guy when you don't have Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. I don't mean that's not to diminish his great career, but for all the people who rip Belichick, the Brady-Belichick thing, if you're going to start throwing stones, then they got to hit
Phil Jackson without Michael Jordan for 2 years.
That you damn right. Or running the triangle in an offense in New York. They couldn't run it because they didn't have the personnel. So good players matter, okay? In case some dumbass out there didn't realize it. Listen, it's gotten to the point when Pop talks about politics, it's just noise to me.
Yes.
Because he does it so often, even when at times, now people know they could throw the bait out there, but even when he's not pushed to talk about it, he likes to talk about it. And listen, he has a platform. I get it. 100%. Use your platform. But if you've made your difference in coaching and you want to turn it over to somebody else and get Becky Hammond hired from hers and let her coach whatever it is, because he's impacted NBA in a lot of different ways, diversity, inclusion, then go make a difference in politics too. Go run for Congress, whatever it is, and utilize that platform to kill it. I'm all for you speaking on your platform. But one thing I do know is, to me, great. Yeah, we know you hate guns and great, and all this goes on, and all the politics that go with, well, are you a 2A or aren't you, or gun control? I get it. A lot needs to be reformed and looked at. But Pop, you're a brilliant guy. Loves wine, loves all the stuff. Go make it. You'll probably win. You'd probably win and go represent. And you've made such an impact on the court. Now go make the impact off it. You've done everything inclusive and diversity wise. Then go make an impact of this in battle and find lobbyists and do everything you can. But I can tell you right now, Grant, I quit listening to him. And right now, as a coach with bad players, he's become just a guy. So maybe that's what's keeping him relevant. I don't know. And Pop's a Hall of Famer and one of the best ever. You got to have good players to be a great coach, and you got to have a platform to speak up. He's speaking up. But for me, when Pop talks about it, I couldn't give you 4 quotes because I've heard enough of it.
I'm really happy you went there because that's how I feel. And it's just like enough is enough again already. And again, I almost feel bad talking this way about Pop because I'm
not being mad about it. I love Pop. But
No,
I mean, he's not above criticism.
and again,
Shit.
I hate to keep on patting you on the back, but like when you say something, then you back it up with actions. When you say I'm going to do something, you're not about just words. You're like, my actions are going to speak for me. During the hurricane, with Russell, with all kinds of things, and you're a doer, okay? And I'm getting tired of people that just talk, but they don't really do anything. Okay,
Well, listen,
that bothers me, Sean.
I agree. And now he talked about inclusive and diversity, and he added Becky to his staff before she went. And she's no question,
Beautiful.
and I love it.
Yes.
So now about guns, Pop, you're a big. I mean, forget just Texas. Everybody knows Greg Popovich. So if you really want to, if you want to get into that and be active towards it, and NBA maybe getting in the way of it. Now I know that being an NBA coach keeps you young, but listen. Maybe that's the next phase of his career because he's a brilliant guy and he's smart and he's well-read, all those things. I'm not dogging him, but he's not above criticism. I don't listen to when he talks about it because I've heard his story about it, but he should use the platform to impact people that are talking. I'm all for talk, just like Grant, and I'm just going to make this on my – I know you got other stuff to do.
No, it's okay.
I still will always say this. You can – when it comes to men and women's sports – that's been a big topic. The only reason I want to say this is, listen, I don't care what sex your gender is. I don't care what your preference is. I don't care what color your skin is. Inclusive and diversity is so important. But what I do is women have fought so hard, so long, voting and getting equal pay and having them on national team. That Final Four stuff was phenomenal for women's basketball in college. And name, image, and likeness, all the things they're doing to impact not only just young girls and women and older ones alike, but guys are watching the way they impact and the way they play too. I'm just telling you, all the things they fought for, it's so odd now that they have to defend that they want to compete against women. This has nothing to do with transgender for me. It has nothing to do with gay. None of that. This has to do with women should be competing against women in their sport. That's all I'm saying. And listen, I could care less about the rest. What you choose to do is you. But when a woman loses a scholarship because or loses a gold medal because she's not competing against women, after all these decades and centuries of fighting for this,
it's a joke.
That you have to. I just had to get that off my chest, Grant.
No, it's a joke.
When people are mad at her, what's her name? It's Riley. Why am I losing my mind?
Gaines?
Riley Gaines.
Yeah.
Listen, and going through what you would listen. I understand if you thought somebody was devaluing, somebody gender or gay or was to the point where they did transgender. Listen, for me. I'll speak for me, not for you, anybody else.
Yep.
You do what you want to do. I have tolerance for all of it. I'm not just like I'm going to do what I want to do, whether you're heterosexual or gay or transgender. That's you. But I don't care. That's exactly right. Because there's great people making a lot of choices.
Yep.
But what I know is that what women have fought so hard for so many years. All of a sudden, now we're just like, nah, it's okay, dude. You go and take theirs when biologically. To me, there is a line. You want to be transgender, fine, but you still got to compete against the guys. Or
that's right.
Women should compete against women, and it's only fair for them. And they've worked too hard for this freedom to do this. I don't know why we're even having this conversation. It has absolutely nothing to do with your change of sex or what you choose to sleep with or what you want to do or how you raise your kids. It has everything to do with women getting the opportunity, what they fought for so many years, to win their gold medal against another woman. Simple.
It's a joke.
Simple.
It's an absolute joke.
Yes.
Well said. I'm happy you said that. And you're awesome. And I can't wait to do it again next Monday. Have a great week, my friend.
Thanks, bro. You enjoy California. You're with your peeps for the next 3 weeks, and I can't wait to talk to you. Go Sacktown. Let's go. Have fun, Grant. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Bud.
All right. That guy's the best. He's the freaking best. He really is. All right. Hey, I want to talk to you about Fosters and Paws, a group of animal advocates. They work primarily with dogs and shelters, but they do a lot of great things. If you go to their website, you can see everything that they're about, their mission statement, fostersandpaws.org. And if you're not able to adopt, hey, they really would appreciate donations to help feed the animals and housing and things of that nature. Again, you can get more information. Just go to fostersandpaws.org. Well, do you think it's a big week in Sacktown here in Northern California or what? Ryan, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, it's a Monday and it feels like the game is tomorrow. That type of like build up and excitement. So I don't know how everybody's going to get through this week. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. We're going to be out at Bennett's on Saturday for the first watch party. I'm pumped up about that. We're going to have a playoff preview special show on Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here. Jerry Reynolds is going to join us. So we got a lot to look forward to. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Happy to have you back, Grant.
It's good to be back. I'm very happy to be here. And I was greeted by very nice weather. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
We made sure that Sacramento would treat you kindly upon your return, but we don't have a King's dog for you. That's the only thing.
All right. I think the Kings are going to have trouble winning this series. I'll get right down to it.
Yeah.
I think they can be competitive, but I don't see it. I don't see it, especially if Andrew Wiggins can come back and help this team. The Warriors are built for this. They know how to win. They know what the playoffs are all about. They're probably not going to beat themselves. Yeah, they've been Jekyll and Hyde. Yes, they haven't played well on the road, but they have Steph Curry. They have Klay Thompson. They have Draymond Green. They're champions. And you know what? To beat the champions, you're going to have 4 unbelievable games to beat that team. You're going to need the games that you win. If you're going to win 4, those all have to be A games, not B plus, not B, A to A plus games to beat the Warriors.
So, Grant, I don't disagree with you about the matchup and the magnitude of it. They are the defending champions, as you said, but I certainly see the other side of things. I think there is a path here. To me, this is the Warriors. This could be the end of their dynasty, quote unquote. You know, Bob Myers getting ready. He's a lame duck GM at this point. You don't know what they're going to do with Draymond. But there is a path for the Kings to beat the Warriors, but it's going to take discipline and physicality. The Kings have to not take that first 3-point shot. The Warriors are number 1 in pace in the NBA, but they are also 30th in free throw attempts because they like to play on the perimeter. If the Kings can set good, solid screens, slow things down, and really take care of the ball, which the Warriors don't do. They are 30th in turnovers.
They're terrible.
Yeah, in the NBA, but they're first in assists. So I think there's a way the Kings can do this, but like you said, it is going to have to be an A game. And we're talking about 2 teams. It's going to come down to who can win at home versus who can win on the road because they're both bad at both of those things.
All right, I'm going to give you a guy for the Warriors that I think is going to have a big impact in this series that's not named Curry, not named Thompson, not named Green, not named Wiggins. Gary Payton, okay?
Yes.
Gary Payton is going to have an impact in this series, and when they need to slow down Fox, okay. Similarly, when when Mitchell's on the floor for Sacramento, but Payton was very good for the Warriors in the postseason last year. He's back and playing. I think he's a guy that can have a real significant role in this playoff series for the Warriors.
Grant, I think he's going to have a huge role. I think he's one of the X factors for them. He's Davion Mitchell, but with offense. He will pressure you end to end on the court, and offensively, he gets what they do. He can shoot that corner 3 well. So that's going to have to be a matchup the Kings figure out, and they're going to have to match that intensity with Payton.
The other aspect that is the unknown is you never know if Draymond Green is going to self-destruct and blow up and cost his team with suspensions, technicals, and things of that magnitude. So there's that aspect as well where you just never know with Draymond Green.
You don't know with Draymond. You got to assume there's going to be some of that. And that's where the Kings, when I say keep your composure and be disciplined, they're going to have to be disciplined when it comes to talking to the officials. Sure, stand up for yourself if Draymond does something, but don't do anything stupid that's going to get you out for the next game. And that's why Sabonis and Len, to a degree, are going to be the key factors in this series. If the Kings run everything through Sabonis, that is their path to victory, and that's going to frustrate Draymond. That will get him in foul trouble.
Well, we'll see about Sabonis staying out of foul trouble too. We'll give our predictions on Wednesday. We're going to just talk about the particulars of the series. First of all, I got to tell you something bothers me, and I know you probably are going to go the other way. I've been reading a lot of stuff about people selling their tickets and not selling their tickets, and I've been looking at certain media personalities, encouraging Sacramento fans to not sell their tickets. Listen, you shouldn't have to do that, Okay. It's the same thing that happened in Los Angeles with the Rams, right? When the 49ers played there in the championship game last year and the team was where, listen, you know, we talk about the Sacramento Kings fans being great. All right. Their support has been unbelievable. People in the media should not have to be telling the fans, hey, don't sell your tickets to Warrior fans. I mean, stop it already, would you please? All right. I mean, the fact that that's even being discussed bothers me. The Kings have been waiting to get into the playoffs since 2006. And now there's this perception out there, which is probably more reality than anything because of how many Warrior fans have invaded Golden One Center over the years.
Right.
But like, you've waited to the playoffs for 2006, and now there are a lot of people worried about all these Warrior fans showing up. Are we really to that point now? I mean, come on.
Well, okay. So I've been sitting here saying, don't sell your tickets, season ticket holders. So I'm one of them, but it going to the media and the media saying it, no. And I think the reason you're hearing that, Grant, is it's been so long. It's been since 2006, like you said, that the Kings have been in the playoffs. People forget. I talked to a season ticket holder today that had season tickets in 2002, and he sold games. That's always gone on, whether it was to a Kings fan or a Away fan. But I think everything is going to be magnified because this is like the first dance again. This is the coming out party. Yep. This is Grant. You would agree probably with this. This is the marquee series of the first round.
It's going to be a hell of a series. There's no doubt about it. It is going to be one hell of a series. Hey, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. Very happy to have them here. Gold Country Veterinarian in Auburn. And for whatever reason, I'm having trouble putting there it is. Oh, let me do it again. Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital in Auburn. Okay. And first of all, I really appreciate that. I know you do as well for them joining us. They're located, as you can see, in Auburn. They serve the foothills and the greater Sacramento area. And they are a full service veterinarian medicine, dentistry, surgery, and wellness care. Here's what else you need to keep in mind. They're dedicated to urgent care. So when your pet needs to be seen, they are available. And they've got the most modern technology from CO2 laser surgery. They have therapeutic laser treatments to head and full body CT screening. Don't forget about full surgical care from spay and neuter packages. They have orthopedic procedures. They do it all. That's Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital in Auburn. We're grateful for their support right here on If You Don't Like That. Well, I'm looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to next week. Wednesday, Jerry Reynolds will join us for our special playoff show at 7 p.m. And then we'll get the show rolling on Saturday. We'll be down at Bennett's in Roseville. Come on down and watch the game with us.
Absolutely. We can't wait. It will be a fun time, but do not miss Wednesday. That's going to be a special show.
It is going to be special. All right, buddy. You have a good couple days. We can't wait to do it on Wednesday with Jerry Reynolds.
Sounds good, Grant. Thank you.
All right. Hey, really appreciate everybody else joining us right here. And we'll talk to you Wednesday. All right. So long, everybody. And thanks very much.